Hey guys, got some breaking news here. This is coming out of RT via Yonhap news agency. North Korea launches ballistic missile from submarine. A North Korean submarine has test launched a ballistic missile in the East China Sea. South Korea's Yonhap news agency reported. It comes amid U.S.-Korean military drills that Pyongyang has called a quote-unquote threat. The missile was reportedly launched off the northeastern coast. Earlier, North Korea called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, citing an unprecedentedly unstable situation on the Korean Peninsula due to the recent announced deployment of THAAD missile systems and introduction of nuclear strategic bombers to South Korea. The United States has deployed about 3 of their bombers to Guam right now, and North Korea is calling that a threat. And basically, North Korea is coming out again, threatening nuclear war, which they've done before, because they've got the annual Ulchi Freedom Guardian military exercise that is taking place in South Korea with about 50,000 Koreans and 30,000 U.S. soldiers. And as you can see right here, North Korea is, this is coming out of CNN, just to show you guys that, this isn't just coming out of alternative news. North Korea threatens nuclear strike amid South Korea drill. The U.S. and South Korean militaries started a massive joint annual exercise Monday, a drill that has drawn North Korean threats of nuclear retaliation. North Korea will quote-unquote turn the stronghold of provocation into a heap of ashes through Korean-style preemptive nuclear strike if the U.S. and South Korea show the slightest sign of aggression during the drill, a spokesman of North Korea's military was quoted as saying by the country's state media. So I'm just going to play this clip right here. This is from Airing News, just to show you guys a little bit more.
So South Korea and the United States have begun their annual Ulchi Freedom Guardian exercise in the shadow of these threats from North Korea. This time the North is threatening a preemptive nuclear strike if it detects any aggression during these drills. Kim Hyun-bin with the details.
Seoul and Washington kicked off their annual combined Ulchi Freedom Guardian military drill. South Korea's defense ministry announced the start of the command post exercise on Monday. The drill is scheduled to run through September 2nd and involves 50,000 South Korean and 25,000 American military personnel. The United Nations Command Military Armistice Commission informed the North Korean People's Army of the exercise through the Joint Security Area at Panmunjom and emphasized that the drills are defensive in nature. The statement was in part a response to a threat by North Korea earlier the same day, saying it would launch a preemptive nuclear strike on Seoul and Washington if the Allies show even the slightest sign of aggression against North Korea during the drills. The warning came in a statement by the North Korean People's Army and released through the state-run Korean Central News Agency. That statement said North Korea is ready to mount a preemptive retaliatory strike on everyone involved in the Ulchi exercise. It also cautioned that the situation on the Korean Peninsula is so tense that a nuclear war may break out any moment. This year's exercise comes amid heightened tensions between the two Koreas following the defection of a senior North Korean diplomat last month. The South Korean military is on high alert for any unusual activity and says it is ready to counter any provocations from the North. Kim Hyun-bin, Aria.
All right, so we clearly got a lot of provocations coming out of North Korea. Obviously, like I said, they've done this before with the exercises. They've threatened, some sort of preemptive strike. The only difference this time is that the U.S. has come out stated that North Korea has the capability to strike the United States with a ballistic missile with a miniaturized nuclear warhead attached to that missile. They also today have been upgrading their plutonium. So right now they do, in fact, have the capability to launch a nuclear strike on South Korea and or the United States. So that is that with North Korea. I'm going to move on to Syria real quick. This is out of CNN Politics as well. The top U.S. commander warns Russia and Syria. In the most direct public warning to Moscow and Damascus to date, the new U.S. commander of American troops in Iraq and Syria is vowing to defend U.S. Special Operations Forces in northern Syria if regime warplanes and artillery attack again in areas where troops are located. Basically, there were some Syrian jets that were bombing really close to the U.S. forces, and basically the U.S. has come out saying that they're going to, basically shoot down any sort of Syrian or Russian jets that they see that are provocative in nature and come close to the U.S. forces again, which, in my opinion, they put about 30 U.S. soldiers on the ground a few months ago, and in my opinion, they're using them as sort of bait to launch some sort of attack against Russia because they're running out of time. Russia, China, Iran have basically taken over Syria. The entire foreign policy in Syria is melting down. And the U.S. basically is backed into a corner. So they, in my opinion, they're trying to start World War III. Either in Syria with Russia Ukraine. I mean, you just take your pick. There's about 10 different hotspots right now where World War III could break out any moment. So here's another little clip from CNN.
The Pentagon is furious with Damascus and Moscow. When the Syrian attack came, the U.S. military scrambled. Trying to contact the Syrian aircraft, there was no answer. Warning the Russians and the Syrians, the U.S. will take whatever action is necessary to defend U.S. forces, and sending more U.S. aircraft into the area to patrol the skies. There is now the real possibility of the U.S. and Syria squaring off in the air. A senior U.S. military official telling CNN, if the Syrians try this again, they are at great risk of losing an aircraft. Dozens of additional U.S. Special Operations Forces are still in other areas of northern Syria. To protect them, the tough U.S. line will continue.
If the U.S. ends up leaving because things get hot, what it's meant is they were essentially coerced to pull back by a combination, one would strongly suspect, of Syrian, Iranian, and Russian efforts.
But the Russians are stepping up their action. These cruise missiles launched at what Moscow said were al-Qaeda targets. And 5-year-old Omran Daknish, wounded by airstrikes in Aleppo, now recovering, another tiny victim of yet another bombing.
All right, so there's that. And as far as that little boy who they keep showing, it's gone viral. That little boy in Syria who was hurt in one of the airstrikes. Apparently that turned out as propaganda and total bullshit. But anyway, so this came out of Press TV. U.S. ready to target Russian Syrian jets in Syria. The Pentagon has warned Syria and Russia that the U.S. is ready to shoot down their planes, which Washington claims threaten American advisors in northern Syria, which is what I was just talking about. So basically, we've got strong rhetoric coming out of the United States from the Pentagon talking about how they will, in fact, shoot down a Russian or Syrian plane to protect their quote-unquote advisors in Syria. So clearly, guys, I mean, they are pushing for war. They're running out of time. I still think they're going to start some shit before the elections. The elections are going to get canceled. There's so much talk throughout the media about a possible third term and this and that, and Obama staying in office, which a lot of us have been talking about for quite a while. So obviously time will tell, but we've just got articles coming out all over the place talking about how the Pentagon is threatening to shoot down a plane. This came out of Superstation 95, which sometimes I link their articles just because so far they've been they've been pretty credible. This one talks about how the order has been given that the U.S. has been given orders to shoot down Russian jets within 72 hours. I'm going to leave a link for you guys to look at this. There's been no other talk about this anywhere in the media, so the credibility of this article I'm not too sure of. But if it's true, then obviously we've got like 48 hours left. So as this came out yesterday, so in any case, guys, that's about all I got. Obviously, we've got a lot of stuff going on. This article out of BBC talking about how the Germans are talking about how they're told to stockpile food and water. Apparently, the Czech Republic is told to do the same. And now they're talking about a draft and a conscription for civil defense in Germany as well. So they obviously know something's coming. This article came out how ISIS is planning simultaneous attacks in the UK, France, and Germany. An ex-member of ISIS warns. So obviously warnings coming out of mainstream media. It's pretty clear that they're reaching the end of their game here, and we're just gonna have to keep our eye on this and see what occurs. So anyway, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll check you out I'll see you guys in my next video, and take care.